All right, we are live. Hello, hello.
I don't know why my Instagram is not going live.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give it like
mine isn't either. Like the button
give
doesn't work.
give it like a few more seconds there. It was a little bit of delay when I
Oh,
did it last time. So
there it
It
goes.
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
mine's good. It's going live now.
Yeah.
That was the old
Awesome.
joke of like, it's got to go to space. Just give it a second.
Our instant gratification. It's amazing, isn't it?
Technology, blame it on
Yeah.
that thing. So, okay, so we're live on many different platforms, many different. Oh, I love it. Good morning. Happy what day is it? It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
all day long. Yeah.
It's good to be back here live and just kind of getting ready for our mini retreat and weekend as people are kind of trailing in. Uh, kind of let people know about what we're doing, who we are, whatever wants to flow out, and just kind of I don't know where we want to start, but yeah,
I mean, I think it's so exciting. We are all in the same state.
yeah,
We're traveling all over. Yeah.
I know you've been
yeah,
in Hawaii, I've been in Nepal, and Jenna, I'm sure you've been in the galactic spheres.
yeah, everywhere, and it's good to be grounded in Phoenix. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good, and it's raining. We were just talking about the weather, but not
Raining
to
in
not
Sedona.
the
It's so
boring topic
amazing.
of weather, but it's kind of exciting when it rains in Arizona. So
100%. 100%. I think it's very fortunate.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, do we want to kind of share for anyone new coming in, like who we are and what we do and what is going on? What are we doing also?
Yes. Yes. Why don't you start, Jenna?
Yeah, awesome. So my name is Jenna for anyone kind of new coming in here. And I am an Akashic Enlightenment Lightwalker practitioner and channeler. And that is a mouthful. I always know it's interesting for people to kind of repeat. And so I work with the Akashic records. I channel in and work with people's energetic databases. I work with the land, with those data, with those energetic areas. And basically, work with many different energetic hallways. So I work with what's also called the Book of Truth. And that is channeling in the laws of the universe, the unity consciousness, bringing that into the sessions as well as working with many different beings, working with the Aqualorians, which are interdimensional beings. And so we'll have some kind of nice transmission a little bit later today if you kind of stick around. And so they're basically it's a very intuitively based energy modality where I'm basically the conduit, as we all are, and everything kind of flows in through all of the interpersonal chakras and all the higher transpersonal chakras. And so everything kind of moves pretty quickly. And so working within different enlightenment beings and working with realm, I typically will kind of hold space in this if I want to come in or whatever is kind of coming in. So I've worked with ancient Lemurian transmissions. I've worked with the Elohim, which is what is kind of mini retreat, is just working with this creator energy, working with a divine blueprint, what we came into this incarnation with, and how do we reset? How do we remember, right, this template of what we came in for and what we came in with, and moving outside of all the things that have happened. So I started my work just a little bit about me as I started my work and my transition into the space through a spiritual awakening and the beauty of just moving into a different perspective. And I kind of had this huge abrupt catalyst that just forced me to look at all the things that were repressed, or even then I started kind of suppressing throughout my adulthood, and all of the, all the traumas, all of the things where I didn't know how to regulate my system or just my emotions. And so I came into this work through, I had PTSD, and it was like a decision, a critical point where it was like, all right, we're either going to do the work and really move through this, or live in a certain way. And so I chose to move through things very quickly, and just kind of, as things were coming up, really start to heal all the things I didn't know that I hid. And it's such a beautiful experience, because then I started to get into energy work eventually when I went back to work, and I started channeling pretty soon after that following year. So I love telling a little bit about that story, because it's like we can come from any types of spaces and just evolve and shift and be empowered by uh, like our own inner strength, and that resilience, and what we can move through. And so it's so beautiful, and I love sharing, because anyone can do it. And so, yeah, a little bit about me, what I do. So we can pass it over to you, Merryman.
Thank you. You're
Yeah.
so fascinating. It's hard to follow you.
Yeah, no.
I love that Jason brought the pyramids to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, gotta keep it grounded.
That pyramid will travel. So I'm Merryman Castles. I'm an astrologer, also an Akashic Records facilitator. And during this mini retreat, I'll really be wearing my astrology hat. And boy, you have to say, boy, howdy. The astrology is something else right now. It is something else. It is so potent. We are entering into eclipse season. We're going to follow the Virgo lunar eclipse at 24 degrees Virgo, which is it's 23 degrees Virgo, but it's right there. My sun is right there on this. So if I'm still here next week, it's going to be a great event. So I do love the astrology. I love the fact that really the universe is living through us, and it is informing us every day. We think we have far more control than we do, and yet we are really, we're really here experiencing this embodied, our spirits embodied, and going through these fabulous paces together. And it's just wonderful to have the opportunity to come together, the three of us, with the folks who join us, and, talk about what's coming through, have a better understanding that it's not that we're not in control, that we don't have free will, but that there's a greater invitation to be in the flow, to be in the divine flow. We're seeing a lot of chaos around us. We recognize this. This is real. I was in Nepal. I received, some pretty profound teachings, and both from Mingyur Rinpoche and Soki Rinpoche. And one of the things Soki Rinpoche said was, it may be real, but is it true? And we have a lot of chaos around us. It's real, but is what's happening true? In every moment, do we have to be activated in this? And then also, going back to the serenity prayer, what can we change and what can we not control? And how do we move into that space? So, that's a lot of what I've been thinking about. We'll talk more about the astrology and, how to be present with everything that is happening while not getting, caught in the sort of the Hydra energy that we have going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hope that made sense, because I am knee walking tired.
No. That does. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, presence is key in all of the stuff happening around us, and we have our perception and truth, and how are we perceiving things. Is it coming from something that we've lived through, stories in our body and our mind, or
Right.
is it the true, is it our higher divine truth? And that is, yeah, that's the way to live. That's the way to kind of make it through when there's things seem a little chaotic and you kind of are like, oh, I'm okay.
I'm
Type of
okay. In this moment, I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
regulating our system.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, the body is such a great feedback mechanism for that, and how we're responding to it in general. And that's where I work with is I'm Jason Donaldson, and I work as a galactic shaman and healer. And what that means is basically I've had experiences that can't really be explained, that people experience on mushrooms, on ayahuasca, and other type journeys. I'm just kind of wired that way. And as a youth, not having any kind of context or understanding for that, or people to guide me, I was left to my own devices, my own mind, to try to figure it out. And so that's really what my specialty is helping people navigate the mind and the madness the mind can create, and also the level of kind of fantasy it can create too, where we can get visions and downloads and all kinds of things, but how do we apply it, and is it actually truth? And one of the biggest rules of thumb I've found with that is, does it separate me from others? Does it saying I'm better than everyone else? I'm going to save the world. In a way, there's truth in that we save our own world by making the choices we make. But anytime there's this, grandiose kind of idea of ourselves, that's the ego and that's the illusion. And so it's always remembering to stay grounded and stay present. And for me, I found that in the breath, and I found it with numerous teachers. And meditation especially is really what set me free, is the ability to just pause and witness. And the more I sat for extended periods of time, the more like wisdom and like realizations, like there was etheric weapons in my body from other lifetimes, or from someone putting it there. Who knows? There's a whole story that can come up with it. And that's where it gets kind of lost. And it's like always bringing it back. Well, okay, there's an axe in my head. I'm going to just slowly pull that out and feel what I feel, and then bring in that divine light and love and energy that I truly am, to fill that space. And so there was a lot of just sitting in meditation, that coming through. And then all of a sudden, like messages from beings and other parts of self showing up, dreams became more clear. I was meeting teachers. I would ask the universe for something material, not so much, but like if I wanted information, it would manifest. I'm really good at manifesting information. And so these things would come in various experiences or teachers, or even on TV shows. It's amazing. Even when I was I had some problems with addiction early on, because I was trying to medicate this ability and this sensitivity. And later I'd go to AA meetings, and even, like AA meetings, and even if someone's not totally tuned into their abilities, psychically, there was a lot of talk about messages that would come through, and the synchronicities. And more as we become really truly present, it all works out, and we're offered these choices in any now moment. And that's what I love about this workshop and all of us coming together, is humanity's really at a choice point. It's like, what are we choosing? And a lot of people are choosing like hate and division, and that's not unity consciousness. That's not Christ consciousness. And that's fine. It's not necessarily bad. It's just like there's an opportunity now to really embody what the masters have embodied. And there's so much energy on this planet. Even the old rituals and the ways of doing things don't need to be done in the same way. You can just envision it, feel it, call it in. Whereas before, we would need items and sacred circles and groups of people. And when we do come together as a group, it's even more potent and powerful in creating the reality we desire individually, and then somewhat collectively, where we can embrace more of the new earth, which is the old earth, in harmony and unity. And I really embrace the Syrian beings and the Tiru, so the Egyptian beings, with the connection to Sirius and Orion, and also the Pleiades. In that was the time of the fall, when we were at a high level of consciousness. Atlantis kind of fell, and then Egypt was still going, but there was a slow, gradual decline. And we were going into that, like, oh, well, I'm able to do this and that person isn't. I can levitate, or I can move all this energy. I should rule. And it kind of got into that mentality that I'm better than other people and I can dominate, or whatever the story was. It turned into the patriarchy, is what it's commonly referred to now. And now we're coming out of that and coming into the unity and oneness again. But there's still this tendency for people to want to hold on to that old pattern. And even if we think we're fighting something to create justice, it's often feeding the fighting energy and can put us on a timeline where that continues, versus what do we want to create in our world and protect that thing. Yeah. But to go out and try to destroy another person's reality or someone that's playing a role of power can be just feeding the game. And, that's fun if you want to do that. But I'm kind of tired of fighting this lifetime. I was like, surrender, just breathe, ground. And I don't know anything.
I love, Jason, how you're bringing forth the ancient future. And also weaving in, like in the rooms of AA, also in recovery, there's so much wisdom that's spoken when we walk in there. And when, I think one of the most potent times of my life is when I realized AA's anonymity policy was really not about me not saying Jason's in recovery or you not saying I am. It's more about when we walk through those doors, we realize we're the same person. Regardless of the story that brought us to this point, regardless of the trauma that we've experienced, when we walk through those doors, we're the same person, and we are in that unity consciousness. And right now, I think it's so profound. So much of the work I do is with with the feminine and masculine energy, and reaching the state of Heros Gamos within ourselves. We're the healthiest within ourselves. But I want to put out a question to you, because I was with what Maurice Fernandez called a constellation of astrologers at dinner last night, several of us out.
Yay, that sounds great.
Yes. And, and I was talking, granted, I just came from magic, right? I just got on a plane and flew home from pure magic in Nepal, and was talking about a lot of the teachings, and Maurice is always very good about challenging me around spiritual bypassing. And this is I think a potent question that addresses what all three of us do and how we try to hold our energy in the world. So I throw that out there to y'all.
Yeah. And the question is like, what is?
Well, I mean, we are all, each of us
How
speaking of staying in, what is a higher vibration, which I really consider stillness, and also moving into the space of oneness, right? Oneness of spirit, remembering this oneness of spirit. And we all know that there's a tipping point. I mean, biblically, they call it the 144,000, that tips us over when we talk about this Jesus's story, of transcending, and Buddha and the Enlightenment, understanding that when we are able to still ourselves and get out of the chaos, that this critical mass, when we reach this critical mass, it does bring about the peace. It does, the light does overtake the dark.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that from my perspective.
Yeah.
Because that's a big topic in the spiritual community. I've been doing this for a long time. Like, I've always kind of been awake, but I was hiding. And when I did get more and more activated, I was still hiding. And it was almost even like owning the title of healer, it would trigger people and get them upset. Like, because I'm not fully healed. Nobody here is fully healed while human, but there is a part of us that is, like our spirit, our essence. And so what I've found that's most helpful is that, to just focus on the positive isn't healthy. But we choose like what we want to embody. We choose that connection to spirit and the divine, and do our best to like go through life with that. And if something comes into our sphere, then looking at it and addressing it directly, and especially with the emotional content it brings up, that anytime something comes into our sphere of influence, then there's an opportunity to feel what that is and work with it. And really what I've come to is it's about dancing. Like, I tried to be a master of the universe, and I tried to, I thought if I meditated long enough, I'd get all these powers and abilities and I could win the lottery and all that stuff. And I did activate a lot. And actually what happened is I got more and more sensitive, which was the last thing I wanted. But what that does is, it happens, I've watched that for everyone that gets awakened or activated or even does medicine journeys, they're all of a sudden, they're like open. And you got to really feel and adapt. So to me, it's like dancing. You can influence and you can guide, but ultimately you got to follow the flow of the universe. We're not, at least in this reality, other realities I saw, we could have much more control or dominance or whatever it is. But here at this level of density, it's still a matter of choosing and then navigating what comes up. So for me, it's like I create and hold the energy of what I want to experience each day. And then if things come into my sphere, I try to move away from it. But if it keeps coming in, it's like, okay, that's something for me. I gotta look at this. I gotta address it.
Nice.
I think that's the difference between, just holding a high vibe and then being, like a master. Like you're not just bypassing. And you see it in a lot of really spiritual people. They'll change their last name to Love or whatever. And they're super loving and they're great. And then something happens that threatens their safety, or they feel one of their wounds is pushed on, and they just get nasty. I mean, really nasty, like a cornered animal. And it's like, whoa. And so a lot of people are turned off by that because it's hypocritical. And they're on their journey and they're trying the best they can. But that's that to me is bypassing when there's that level of reaction, and we all get upset. But sometimes it's like a little more pronounced. So yeah.
Sure. But really what you're offering are tools to help navigate the challenging times, because it's great to sit on the top of a mountain and meditate and know you are God. But to come back down and go to Thanksgiving dinner with your family,
That's the best test.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, it's in agreement, from my perspective too, that you'll see, you can see part of that spiritual community where it is, there might be people that kind of are all about love and light, but then there's the reality of things and the motion of things that do happen. I know for me personally, when I started to get into this space and do it for myself, I was just so excited about all the things, all the information. And I was like, I want to go do this and this and this and this. And in a way, though, that was just kind of distractions. It was like spiritual distractions. And so now that I've kind of seen through that, I'll kind of, if I ever see clients that are just like, I want to learn like all of these things, we've literally then gone from like this potentially, right, this awakening or this different layer of healing, and now we're just turning into distractions of binging shows or whatever that is, to binging spirituality, right? Or binging spiritual items. And so I know that was a bit for me in the beginning when I realized I was like, oh, it's just, I wasn't going within, right? I was just kind of like seeking all of these external things to kind of tell me something. And that's why I love the modality that I work with, and why it resonates so much with me is that it's, and anyone has access to their own Akashic records, right? There's no
100%.
gatekeeping, and there's no, like, it's all about intention, right? And so I know for me, when I have something going on, if I feel uncomfortable, I actually go into, me personally, spaces where I was like, oh, I felt uncomfortable here last time. I'm going back. Let me sit with it. Let me bring into my awareness now, what is it that's going on, so that I can really come back into truth. And then most of the times I'll open up my own Akashic enlightenment and just kind of go within and just, what is happening here? So what is the root mindset? Where are things starting to kind of be believed the most, so that we can see like the truth, that the body can register and move out that energy of those old belief systems, like the patterns, the karmic loops, all those things that the mind can kind of do, so that it will kind of help bring me in. But it's not because I'm saying, oh, love and light. I'm actually really diving in and saying, oh no, I'm curious. Like, I tell people to be curious about like what is happening, and why is the mind like going back into something, and how do we interrupt that loop pattern and create from like this present moment here. So many tools in spirituality can help, and just finding what works and what resonates with people. But that's that's my experience. And I actually love when people do talk about it as well, this bypassing, and how do we make sure as the community that we are also, helping empower people to see and be curious themselves. Just ask the questions.
Yes. Part of the teaching that Sokni Rinpoche brought forward is that he calls these our beautiful monsters. And, developing a handshake practice with them. But I think what both of y'all brought up also that resonates with me is how we experience the emotions in our body and moving the energy within our own bodies, recognizing that, where it's all knotted up is truly informing us in what's happening within our own being and empowering us to find that place of peace. And I think, it's beautiful, using our records going within. And I also have become very aware of how developing our own faith practice is very important, whether that's, meditating with the mala, whether it's a prayer and meditation, working with your records, really just that deep daily connection to that which is greater than ourselves.
Yeah.
I try to practice that. Like for me, it's breathing, like just all day long, tuning into my breath and checking in with my body and, working to stay in presence. Like the ultimate moving meditation is just being present in every moment with every breath, to me, there's the breath work I work with. The first breath is just basically how we breathe as children, just these full deep inhales and exhales, and very like fluid, very like intentional and smooth and relaxed. And I would meet people like that from time to time when I was a kid, and I was, I had complex trauma. I grew up just constantly on edge, and I would meet people that were in that like state with their nervous system where it was just very relaxed, and it would calm me too. And so that's what I'm constantly doing. Even right now, there's like this energy and this excitement and this buzzing, and it's like, oh yeah, my stomach's getting a little tight. So, okay, just breathe and feel and notice that. And I love the curiosity part, because that's so true, because I don't know what that's about. I'll be like, oh, it's anxiety, but what's anxiety? That's a made up word.
Wow.
It's just sensations and feedback in the body. And so when we just breathe and be curious, usually that's enough to shift it. And that's what, Jesus said, and a lot of the other masters, is just be curious. And to me, like that emotion that we're feeling, we're blaming on some external thing, when that external thing is helping us feel the emotion that was always there. The more we allow ourselves to feel the emotion and soothe it and not make it wrong or bad or trigger the memories from the past, even though it will, then the external changes. Or when the external thing happens, it's not the same reaction. That's just the essence of overcoming any kind of trauma. Is there may always be like an inkling or a feeling or a sensation in relation to that experience, but more and more it gets easier to just be like, oh, right, I'm okay now. And that's the ascension, is like, oh, everything's okay right now. There's no tiger in here. I'm okay.
In this very moment, it's okay.
Yeah.
And that's where we're all heading. No matter who or where you are, or how stuck you think you are, or damaged or whatever, we're all going back to the love and the presence that created us. And you don't have to die to do it either. I mean, it is here right now. That's that's the hardest thing and the easiest thing. And what makes my work so easy is I know everyone's healed, whole, and complete. I'm just distracting their ego mind long enough to like have that pop out, and they're like, oh, I feel way better.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that. Awesome. Well,
so do we want to share about did you want to get into the astrology a little, Merryman? You have anything you want to share about today?
It is a very activated time. So, today we do have the sun conjunct Saturn. And so and it's a very brief, but it's, it is shining a light on what's working and what's not working, and those boundaries. Where are our boundaries? And how are we shifting in this time? But that's kind of the minor news compared to the the lunar eclipse, which will happen late tomorrow night or early Friday morning. And that is really where we are looking at structures. Virgo is about structures and order and patterns. And we're really looking at what's not functioning and how are we seeing this playing out in the world. I mean, we're seeing it right now. Everybody's going, whoa, and they're having their own responses. And the interesting thing is we're seeing everybody, running around in different directions, all creating chaos, creating more chaos. And of course, we know we want to move into the space of order. We do have Venus retrograde. Venus is about the love and the balance. Mercury's getting ready to go retrograde. So there's a lot of evaluating what do we value. We see the stock market, doing a crazy dance right now. I don't even want to look today. So, and Mercury retrograde bringing us back to looking at how are we, what's not functioning for us and how are we going to move forward. We're going to have the March 30th solar eclipse that will be at 9 degrees of Aries. And that, and we'll also have Neptune moving into Aries from Pisces at the 0 point, creation point. So, we are really stepping into a new period and a new period of fire. We've been in this water. It's nebulous. It's, it's unclear. Anybody who thinks they have the answers is just fooling themselves. We are in the chaos. We're in the stew. And so we're going to be getting what will be a lot more clarity. It will be interesting to see how that plays out. Many different astrologers will look at of course, like how it's going to impact us economically, how violence is involved with this as people are, feeling more and more isolated and threatened. And, when we're witnessing how many people are losing their jobs and their livelihood and, I don't even want to get into all the politics. I mean, there's no sense in that. You can go watch the news if you want to go crazy. I want to be in the solution. And I think, really a really powerful part of the solution is realizing we are the co-creators. And so when we, dream work is very important to me. So, bringing in the dream work, collective dreaming the new world into existence, realizing, and, each of us has experienced this. And Jason, you touched on it ever so slightly when you were talking about being in the rooms, how there are certain ideas, concepts that come up through the zeitgeist, that through this collective, and, really realizing the power of this. This is the true power of manifestation. This is, nothing in this world has happened without a dream. And when we're dreaming this together and when we're dreaming this in the highest, for the highest good for all, we are affecting change on this planet. So yes, there's a lot happening, and I'll be much more thorough and prepared for our retreat. But it is being in both the space of being in the flow. Really, it's not even both. It is simply being in the flow, and in the intention of the highest good.
Yeah.
We don't all have to agree either. That's the thing.
We
We don't have to agree on little details. Like we can have differing opinions, and that's what I think is frustrating a lot of people. That's what I had to learn is I can still love somebody and not agree with them or even like them.
But at the end of the day, we really do want the same things. For ourselves, we want to feel safe. We want to, feel comfortable, fed, comfortable, have options for how we can live our lives. We want our children to be, happy and safe. We all want these same things. And, that is the higher goal there. How it works out, we don't have to play God. We don't have to figure out all the details. I mean, we have a higher source that will work with us to figure this out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, that's a lot of astrology.
That was very thorough.
And the fact that it's right on my sun and actually Jupiter's right on my moon. I'm like, there's no excuse for me right now. So I just get to be in it.
Well, I
Yeah.
love the Aries energy. Like I have an Aries moon and my
Yeah,
Chiron's in Aries, and I love the fire and I like the movement, and this whole theme of this mini retreat is like fire and water, and
Mhm.
combining these two elements and how it's really a liberating force, right? It
yeah,
creates that steam, it creates the connection to the spirit, the ether, and
yeah.
that's what's happening on the planet is just like literally fire taking things, and then also the fire that comes up when we're frustrated or angry about things,
The
and it moves
boiling,
us.
yeah,
Like
the
when I had
boiling and the steam.
depression, yeah, when I had depression, it was like the anger was more powerful. It was like a natural stage in overcoming depression is you get angry at a certain point, like I need to do something about this, and you get the energy moving, and then you find a new direction, a new path, and then that water and the ability to flow and adapt comes in later. But it's like that spark that's needed. Like a lot of people are just used to settling, or um, this is the way it is, and it doesn't have to be that way. We can create
Right.
our own realities,
Mhm.
especially when we
100.
come together. We don't have to have a leader do it. Yeah.
No, and yeah, that's what we're moving away from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Us leading our own way.
Sovereignty.
And yeah, sovereignty. And I do love the balance that is coming in for this mini retreat, this fire, this water. A lot of times, I mean, fire, obviously means so many things, and what's coming through, at least right now, like some messages about like this passion, right? This like bringing in this like willpower and this passion, which can kind of um when people can be passionate about something, it can, sometimes it may seem a little extra sometimes. And
Yeah.
so it's that balance, that water, that flow, right? Being with the passion, but also riding with that water and the wave, and allowing like that balance to kind of come in for the situation that we're creating. And like, everyone has said here, we're creators, right? We have that energy. We're co-creators. We're letting ourselves flow. If we're surrendering to that flow, we're creating this divine connection and unity with each other. And so that's kind of the best balance to kind of come in and kind of can be to create from. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
That's why regulating the nervous system and slowing everything down is so important. And everyone's a channel, and then some people get really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
But only if we can become the hollow bone and allow stuff to flow through. And so that's where we're going to do a little bit of that at some point too, where we'll do a little tuning into the body and using the breath to regulate the nervous system, and share some tools with how scientifically you can do that quite easily.
Yeah. Speaking of that, do we want to jump into
Yeah.
reset?
Is there anything else we want to talk about with the astrology though, or in that
No,
fire
I
and
mean,
water thing?
I think we'll stop there and bring out more, especially once we've navigated this week and we're in the astrology of next week all together, because we're going to have some data. I'm a Virgo. I love some data.
Show
It's
me
going to be
the
on point. With the Virgo doing it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
All right, great. So yeah, we can do a little tuning in, about 10 minutes. And if you're watching us live or the recording later, just make sure you're not driving, because it can get you sleepy. If you're sleepy, you may even have some temperature changes in the body. Everyone releases a little differently. And the most important thing about everything is to not judge it. And love the infinite field of oneness. There's no judgment. There is discernment and what's best for us. But anytime there's a mental label placed on anything, it's limiting the field of creation. And that's what Merryman was talking about, is basically there's a part of us that knows exactly what we want. And then there's the ego part, the thinking mind, that's like, no, I want it this way and it's got to be that way. And it's the blinders that we put on, and we miss the amazing thing over here because it doesn't look
Yes.
the way we want it to. And that's been my experience over and over again, is surrender. There's something way more powerful guiding all this. And so we'll do a little of that now. And the best way I know to do that is to just sit or lay down. I prefer sitting down with the spine straight, because the spine is a bit like an antenna. I mean, we're receiving and we're also transmitting. So when we can sit up, then close the eyes. As you close the eyes, you start to go within. It's like turning off one of the senses. One of the things that kind of pull us out of the body are the eyes. So a lot of us have had trauma and other experiences will literally be able to move around our environment by locating. And so as you close your eyes, just notice what you notice. And then find your breath. Notice how you're breathing. You're always breathing. The breath's always moving. So in this moment, just tune in, notice, and don't judge it. Don't make it wrong. If there's any tightness in the body, sensations in the body, just notice that too. And as you tune into the breath, it starts to change. You have the ability, like I said, to dance. You start to dance with what was unconscious becomes conscious. So to become more conscious, to become more enlightened, to become more awakened, we tune into the thing, the ability we have, the gateway to all the other abilities. It's to use that breath and expand it a little bigger. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and just allowing the breath to come in naturally again, breathing in and letting go. Right now, you're just breathing, just noticing. You're not trying to take huge belly breaths or anything like that. Just notice the breath. Notice how you can slightly expand it. And as you do that, notice what sensations occur, or maybe some emotion starts to come up. Maybe you're aware of more thoughts coming. Just be the witness of it all and then come back to the breath. For the breath is that anchor. It is the center of presence. And as you breathe, as you expand, you can be a little curious about, what is it I'm breathing? What is this that's expanding me? What is this with each exhale out through the mouth? Releases, relaxes, and lets go. And as you're curious, as you're feeling the expansion breath, feel on that exhale how you can feel your feet, your toes, rooted and grounded, connected to the earth, always grounded, always present. No need to leave or go anywhere. This breath is like filling your temple, like the pyramids behind me. Your body is your temple. This breath is your spirit. Inviting that in and letting go, and let go with a ha this time. As the breath comes in again, and then release with ha. That sound ha gets you down into the belly, down rooted, grounded into the earth. Anytime emotions comes up, anger, frustration, fear, sadness, you can use this breath to expand, and that ha to release and relax and let go of that tension. And now start to focus on the belly a bit. You can even touch that area and just gently breathe into that space. And release with that ha again. You may notice more thoughts. You may notice a restlessness, like, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. But then just come back to the breath. We're just going to do this for another 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. We all want abundance, prosperity, health, and vitality. And what if this is the most important thing you could be doing in this moment? It would bring all the things you've desired. Just be curious about that as you breathe into the belly, slightly into the chest, shoulders relaxed, and then let it go. All the way down to the feet, to the toes, down into the earth. Feeling that rooted, grounded connection, how you're always supported and held by the divine feminine that is the representation of this planet, a living consciousness. that you are one with, you cannot harm or hurt. Though you may have believed this in the past. And in this now moment, breathing in this energy, breathing in this awareness, this knowing. At each breath, you're blessing this land, wherever you find yourself. You're blessing the temple that is your body. Just stay with that breath. Just notice. In through the nose, out through the mouth. So you can start to find that smile, that inner smile, as you connect with the heart. And notice if there's any emotion. We want to welcome this emotion. It's like a small child coming to visit. But this is your power, this is your strength, this is your deeper connection and manifestation ability to lovingly acknowledge this emotion, but not feed the thought. We feed the breath. So feel that breath, that expansion. Let it go. And the longer, the slower the exhale, the more this activates the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the part of the autonomic nervous system. It's about rest, relaxation, digestion, strength and vitality. Breathing in the expansion. And just letting go. Relaxing the jaw. Relaxing the eyes, the ears. You may even want to move a little, noticing there's some stretches that the body's asking for, whatever you feel organically in this moment. And watch the part that's like, oh, my neck's so stiff, or oh, that injury from the past. Just notice what comes up and then give power to your breath in this moment. Don't feed the illusion. Don't feed the past. Be here now. Be with the breath. You can actually use that breath to go right to that space, not blasting through it, not trying to change it, but just lovingly acknowledging, oh, I hear you. Here I am. Here's my breath. Here's this energy. Here's this vitality, this strength. Here I am as the energy work, as my own healer with this breath, with this consciousness, with this presence. And just breathe. Doing a little clearing. Dropping down into the heart, away from the head. Just giving it a little rest, allowing ourselves to come to the source, the portal, the station of identity through all lifetimes, residing in this space of the heart, the infinite wisdom that is available in this space. Breathing into the heart, letting go, noticing if there's any emotion in this space. Often there can be a protective layer from the past, from a desire to protect it. And just allow whatever's there to be felt and let it go. Breathing in that breath, focusing on the breath. Let go with ha. Just nice and smooth. Let go. So this is what I call the master's breath. If you were to breathe this all day long, in and out, expanding, letting go, you would be fully present. You'd be connected. be clear, focused. But often we forget and revert to our other style of breathing. So in any now moment, we can tune into the breath. In any now moment, we can begin to dance and cultivate our abundance and our vitality with this breath, with this expansion, with the awareness and the ability to give power to what we desire. For the breath is closer to your true essence than any thought, memory, idea, concept, activation, or even this mini retreat. Here it is right here. Feel that breath, feel that expansion, feel the awareness it brings, and then the ability to just let go and allow the flow, allow what is. As you do this, you start to feel, you start to notice, you start to remember. And then let go of whatever it is you're remembering. No need to hold on to anything. In every now moment, with each breath, you'll always know what to do. That's why I call that the master's breath. During the retreat, we'll do 2 other styles of breathing as well, designed to take you even deeper, creating more activation, more shifts in energy, more revealing. So here now in this moment, feel that which is supporting you, whether it's a chair, a couch, bed, seat of a car. Feel that support, feel the body, feel the blood pumping, feel the organs, feel your skin, and see if you can sense what's around you without opening your eyes. As you continue to breathe, just sense what's around, the borders of your space. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Do a little stretch. A little movement, rocking back and forth, being gentle with yourself. And as you look out with your eyes, just notice what you see. Notice if the colors have changed, if there's any sparkles. And then we're going to actually close our eyes again now that we know we're safe. Everything's okay. As you close your eyes, connect with that breath again. Jenna's going to continue the guidance, an activation, with a connection, with the transmission.
Yeah, just continue to be in this pure I am presence, this space, this now. As we just continue to go in deeper into that heart. Allowing that love to just bubble up in that heart space. As we just receive any transmissions coming through. Being in a state of receiving and surrendering. Yesikiawa, yesiakawa, yesiawa, yesiakiawa. Wow, shwikiatao, shitikoetea has, yateatuash. We kwasia shutekeo haseo ha. We kwa hasikete kwa shueketa. We kasiko shuika hawaskia toa. We shiokawa siteo. That deep expression to that throat. Feeling that light hit that expression portal. Being in a flow of surrender here. Dia sia kwa teo sia kwa shui teo wa. Dia sia kwa tao wa sikia tu hash. We kio sia shui te ke ha sia wa kao siu kwa ha. Wa shui hawa ke hui sia wa ash. Kwa te shui te kio ha shi te apa. Tu e shi kio ha o he se kwa iata. We shui kio ko hea ko shui te kwa i te ko i shi te. Wow, shikio ko hao kao hiki asu hatao gosh. Wow, ko e te. We kia tu chia tu kao a hia shui kio ka. We a washi kio hao. Just continuing to receive those divine transmissions that you are part of this co-creation here. Being in that flow. Going a bit deeper into the mind. Allowing that surrender to just be here in this present moment. Kwa yeshia hao hikiao hishia kuao shite kue te hao shikia wakao te shua te koai shia te ao hash. We wakashi wakawa te kua ye te o ha. Wa ye kua shio kia wa shuk ha shuka sioka. We ka shuki au kia toa hi tu shukwa. Te shio ka o te ahua. We ako shui a ka kia ko suki te ta shuki te a. We ako a yoto ki shio ko a hash. We ako a shui kia kwa ya te kwa ya. Just grounding in those divine love codes. Into the physical body. Down to that subatomic level, every ounce of that body being that source of creation, that love flowing through. We shiokwa yekio ko shuiki ko hashwa. We gao shuiki deo ko hashwio. Wow shui kao shka. Yokwa yeshui ko dishia tua yekwa siokwa. We shui ko di shua kao shia kuiteo a deo kao. We ao shui di ko hao shikio kwa. We deo a kwa yeshui kio a ka. We shui kio kwa yeshui ka hao has. Dia kao dike shukwa dio ka. We kia ko shui kia kwa. Wow shui tua ka. We akwa yeshui kia kwa yakwa shikalo kwa shio aha. A we ka we a chui shia. We ao shui kia wa wow. Kwa yeshu kia toa hao ke shui tia wahas yakwa. Yesu kwa ya has kwa yawa yaka o shui ke waha. Yaka yeshu kia ha washia waha. Just to continue receiving these transmissions. Coming into that heart space a bit deeper as you are remembering your divine blueprint. Remembering all that is. Remembering the gift of life in this present moment. And just feel how that feels in the body in this present moment. There's just this divine white light flowing in from the top of that head, down past the neck, past that heart, the stomach and the lower belly, the pelvic region, down the legs, down to the feet, and into these roots connected to those feet, into the earth. And you are this white pillar of light, just emanating that love, that creator energy from within that heart space. And just let that burst outside of that physical body into the room, connected to the universe, connected to the oneness of all that is. And just feel that love emanating and mirroring back, receiving that fullness, that wholeness within you. And just feel how that feels in the body. And just start to bring your presence back to the room, bringing a subtle awareness back to the room, but not fully back. Just continue to recognize this feeling in the body. What does it feel like and where is it at? And then just start to bring more of your presence back to the room, starting to move those hands and those fingers and those toes, and maybe just stretch. And just whenever you're ready at your own pace, you can just open up those eyes. Just continue to feel free to stretch. Come on back. Welcome back.
A long way. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where did we go?
Where did we go? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the beauty of it is that we're here now in this present, right? This present moment, and being able to create that experience within the body. It's just, just beautiful and remarkable. And that's just a little preview of, and thank you, Jason, for kind of leading in to the transmission. And it just, so much peace just flowing in now for me. So
I feel really relaxed.
Me too.
Ready for like my morning nap.
100%.
Yeah. Whew. Just letting that settle a little bit here. Yeah. Whew.
And so, like, I'm always a big fan of feeling the feet, ground in, feeling the earth, feeling gravity in this moment.
Yeah.
There is a force of gravity or energy that's holding us, embracing us.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that with that breath, with that ha breath, to drop you down into the belly, the root and ground. This work, this remembering, this connection is the greatest gift we give And at a certain point, it's no longer even about healing. It's just about fun and enjoyment and coming together and co-creation. And that's what
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
this mini treat's going to be about too. Is we can be serious, but it's a lot of it's just going to be about fun and exploration and just sharing our unique gifts and perspectives, and everyone that comes in that circle, in that leaderless new earth we're co-creating, where there is this equality and there's people that are better at things, but nobody's any better than anyone else.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
each cultivate our own experiences and passions, and they serve each other. I mean, a star seed's growing up telling people things. You're like, well, how are you going to survive? And who's going to clean the toilets? And who's going to do this and that? It's like, it'll just work out. It'll work out. Like, like that was my role. I would do the job nobody else wanted, because that was the way I showed love. And that's just my ego too. That was like, I want to be the one that takes on the darkest thing, the person that reaches out, that's really struggling and nobody else wants to connect with them because they're scared. I'm like, I'll do it. I don't do that as much anymore because it's taxing, but like, I'll pull them up out of that. I'm going to rescue them. And so we're not trying to rescue or fix anybody. This is about connecting that to our organic health, our innate health. And so that's the blessing we give everyone on this day, is to remember this feeling, the space before time, when everything was perfect and divine, and because it is now. And we still get to be human, and we still get to navigate this. And something I said was kind of shocking to me, where I was kind of basically like channeling it, where you can't hurt the earth. And I'm like, we really can't. I mean, in the past, maybe we had the illusion we did, but in this now moment, if you are on listening to this or on that path of being gentler and kinder with yourself, then it's basically impossible to hurt the earth unless you have your finger on the trigger of a nuclear weapon.
Yeah,
You really can't. And even then, there's divine intervention, where I believe our space family, star brothers and sisters, that's the one time they intervene, is when there's going to be a nuclear war or a launching of weapons in that way, because we already played that game. That's already played out on other planets, and that's not going to happen again. So just anybody that's concerned about that, I don't foresee that. I could be wrong, but that's not the timeline I'm on, or any of us. So
yeah. Beautiful.
Yes.
So do we want to get specifics with what we are doing and when and all the good stuff?
How about the Virgo? The Virgo help us with the
Call the Virgo
logistical.
in. Well, I love, because we're going to be together in joy and in creation together, honoring the flow, honoring the breath, being in presence, and witnessing one another. And that's going to be next Wednesday, a week from today, March 19th. It's going to be from 4 to 8 when you're registered with our Eventbrite. And I guess we can add that information to a caption, but anyway,
it would block you if I add it. You're talking, but it's in the notes.
It's in the notes. Perfect.
I'll add it once you stop talking.
Okay, so we can register. You can register for that. There are a couple of options to where you can come from, from a shorter period, or come for a longer period. I think it's 4 hours is a shorter period, and a longer period where we'll have dinner afterwards. So there are two options. You can register just for the event, or to share dinner afterward and gather around the fire and play the instruments and just kind of ground in the beauty that we co-create together. And that word is so important. It is an opportunity of co-creation. And this is where our astrologer is calling us in our highest good, rather than co-creating destruction together.
Yeah, that's my role, is to help with the new earth transition. Like a lot of us, that they call us like the chosen ones. And basically that just means that we were here when it fell apart and we're part of that. So we kind of have to be here now to undo that. So it's not like this, grandiose title. It's kind of like, oh, you kind of messed it up, so you're here to fix it. But there is no messing it up. It's like we chose that on a certain level, and now it's shifting back to the new earth. And I flew in from Hawaii to do some events here in Phoenix and Sedona. So I'm excited to meet up with these two amazing beings and see what kind of magic we weave together. And anybody else that shows up is always like in divine alignment. And I just always trust that it's going to be amazing, because that's how I live my life now. Analyze. I'm a Capricorn, so I used to analyze and judge everything and structure it, and it's got to be like this, and it's got to look like this, and you got to do that. It's like, no, it's all good.
Yeah, we're in the simulation together.
Yeah. It's just like a little bit of the theme, flowing waters, just being in that flow and allowing that balance to come in from the, what we are creating together. And I'm so excited for us to build that and co-create with, anyone that's showing up, that space, that container, and what like you said, Jason, people that are showing up, it's like the vibration of everyone being pulled together. There is some resonance of why we are being called together. It could be, a small, intimate gathering, and there are things within each of us that are mirroring in that space. And it's beautiful, the group work, because even sometimes we may not even know why, and that exact moment, but this, whatever happens, whatever unfolds, whatever emotions come out, there's like this, or emotions, or whatever it is that comes out, it's all related, it's all relative. And so other people can experience that through that other person, and then within them, and it can even help pull out something that we didn't even know that we needed to experience in that moment. So it will be a beautiful orchestration of just divine connection and oneness, and I'm so excited. So
me too. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right. I'm glad it didn't fully block your face there.
That's
Mary.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah. I'm like all the info is in the the actual link too is in the notes as well. So when people kind of rewatch it as well, if you want to, go right to that, wherever it's at, YouTube, Instagram, not so much, but Facebook and YouTube will be right there. On Instagram, and I know on my profile, the link is in the bio in that link section.
Yeah, cool. Me too. Yeah. Thank y'all. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks everyone who watched, and
absolutely.
Come join us. Love to have you experience the magic of Starhaven Ridge, Merryman's home, and Sedona. There's this big shift of energy there. Last time I was there, I could really feel it, and a lot of people in the community were talking about this transformation that's happening there, and all these people being drawn in. And it's really pretty great. I love it. I love what's
really great.
And at the same time, there's seemingly chaos, but we're creating the structures and the systems and the remembering that's gonna flourish as
the ancient future
fall away. And to keep that presence, stay with your breath, stay present, and trust that the universe is unfolding perfectly, even though it may not look that way. Later it'll be like, oh, I get why that happened.
I hope it's not when we're on the other side.
No, that's the opportunity we have now. We don't have to die to have the bardo, right? We can have the bardo right now. That's kind of what's going on, is the living bardo, with the fire, with the revealing of everything, and the
fire burning everything away.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Yes. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.